The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Donna, are you talking? We can't hear you.
Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, October 25th. I'm Donna Will, Professional Development Coordinator for the Developmental Disabilities Administration. Thank you, Christy. We welcome you to the Financial Management and Counseling Services FMCS Open Enrollment Information Fair. On the panel today, we have Monica Herreri, FMCS Program Manager, and Christy Culbreth, Coordinator of Self-Directed Services. From the ARC, we have Karen Bradbury and Lee McHarg. And from PPL, we have Susan Sagru. From GTI, we have Kristen Capeless, Rob Lewis, and Jen. I'm sorry. We have Jen. Okay, before we begin, I'd like to go over a few things about the webinar. All participants are in listen-only mode. There are two options for listening to the webinar: by computer and phone. And if you have trouble hearing, you can try switching by clicking on the appropriate button on the audio section of the webinar panel. There is one handout for the webinar. You can find that in the handout section in the panel to the right. And we are recording the webinar, and we will post it on YouTube and on the DDA website. Questions can be typed in the questioner chat, and we will get to those at the end of the presentation. So now I'd like to introduce Monica Herreri. Hi, Monica.
Hi, thank you, Donna. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our last Financial Management Counseling Services Open Enrollment Information Fair. We appreciate you attending this evening. Next slide, please.
Oh, give me a second.
Go back one.
Oh,
yeah, go back. Yeah, back to the agenda slide. There you go. All right, so everyone, as Donna mentioned, my name is Monica Herreri, and I am the FMCS Program Manager. And here's the agenda for today. I'll go over a brief introduction. We'll have an opening remarks video play for you. Then Christy will speak about the choice process. Then we will have GT Independence, the ARC of Central Chesapeake Region, Public Partnerships speak on behalf of their agencies. Then there will be closing remarks. And at the very end, we'll have a question and answer session. And we also have some poll questions this evening. Next slide, please. So once again, welcome to the Open Enrollment Fair. This is a webinar, not the in-person one. We did have several of those throughout the state. Open enrollment began on August the 1st, and it goes through November the 15th. After the 15th, if you have not chosen an FMCS, one will be assigned to you. More about this process will be discussed later on in the presentation. The next thing we will have is an opening remarks video played from the Secretary Carol Beatty of the Department of Disabilities, Deputy Secretary Bernie Simons of the Developmental Disabilities Administration, and Deputy Secretary Steve Hsu of Healthcare Finance and Director of Medicaid. Thank you. Please play the video. Okay, great. Thank you, Donna. And so our next speaker is Christy Colbreth. She's the statewide coordinator for self-directed services, and she will explain more about the choice process.
Right. Good evening, everybody. We're so happy to have you today. Like Monica mentioned, this is our final informational fair. Really excited that it's virtual, that we have so many people from different parts of the state here to learn about FMCS agencies. So, like Monica mentioned, my name is Christy Colbreth. I'm the statewide coordinator of self-direction here at the DDA. I'm really excited to share all of this information with you. I'd like to first review what we mean when we say financial management and counseling services, or FMCS. FMCS agencies support Marylanders who self-direct their services. The FMCS will replace the fiscal management service, or FMS. FMCS agencies will complete the same activities and tasks that the current FMS does, but with enhanced support and services, like web portals with real-time reports, so participants and their teams can log in at any time to check in on their budget spending. Online, phone, and in-person customer service, including a response to, I'm so sorry, Donna, can you get the next slide? Or the previous slide? Previous slide, sorry. Yep, the one right before that one. Yep, I'm so sorry, thank you. All right, so those enhanced supports are web portals with real-time reports, so you can log in at any time, online, phone, and in-person customer service, smartphone and tablet applications for timekeeping and approval, and multiple languages with other accessibility features. We're really excited about this new slate of services that the FMCS agencies will provide. Next slide. I'll now review the process of open enrollment for people who are currently self-directing their services. There are 3 steps to open enrollment. The first is to learn as much as you can about each FMCS agency. Then you'll choose an FMCS agency. And finally, you'll take action steps to transition to your new FMCS. Just as Monica mentioned, open enrollment for FMCSs began on August 1st, 2022, and will go through November 15th, 2022. So you still have some time to make that decision. If you do not choose an FMCS before 5 p.m. on November 15th, one will be chosen for you. It's important to note that if you are currently using the ARC Central Chesapeake as your FMS, you will still need to choose an FMCS agency during open enrollment. You may choose any FMCS, including the ARC CCR. Next slide. The first step in open enrollment is to learn about the new FMCS agencies. So today you have that chance to listen and ask questions. So if you haven't already, as you start to hear from these agencies, please start asking your questions in our questions box. There will be a Q&A at the end of our session today where we'll hear from each FMCS agency. In our slides today, we also have the contact information for each FMCS representative so that you can contact them outside of this meeting to discuss more. That's particularly important if you're here today or listening later and you support someone or some people who self-direct. They might need to reach out independently to each FMCS agency to learn more. And we recommend that participants meet and talk to their team about what they've learned. You can use your CCS, support broker, and any other team members to help you make that decision. Next slide. The next step in open enrollment is to choose an FMCS. Participants who are currently self-directing and choosing an FMCS now will start their FMCS services on January 1st, 2023. When you decide on an FMCS, you must tell your coordinator of community services. That CCS will confirm your choice and complete the FMCS participant choice form that goes directly to the DDA. We're keeping track of that every day. And then the CCS will then assign the agency to you in LTSS Maryland. Next slide. The final step in open enrollment is to take action steps to transition to your new FMCS. With the support of your CCS and other team members, you're going to update your budget sheet to include your FMCS choice and fees. The newest version of the self-directed budget sheet includes a line item for your FMCS and has helpful tools to help you calculate how many months you need to budget for. Make sure your employees and vendors know your FMCS choice. You can let them know that everyone involved, your current FMS and your new FMCS and the DDA, are all dedicated to make sure that the transition is smooth and that no missed payments will happen during the transition process. Finally, you'll meet with your new FMCS team. During that meeting or meetings, you'll make sure that all of your employees and vendors have the correct paperwork and are clear to provide you services. And the FMCS team will show you all of their processes during this time. Next slide. The steps for choosing an FMCS are different for people who are considering self-direction or for people who are transitioning to self-direction right now. For those people who are considering self-direction, those may be folks who are transitioning from the traditional model to self-direction or transitioning youth graduating from high school. You want to make sure that you learn as much as you can about each of these FMCS agencies because you will need to pick one to self-direct. After listening today, you can also connect with any of the agencies using the contact information we provide. Once you've chosen an FMCS, you'll need to choose an effective date to start your services. For you, this date does not need to be January 1st. You can start your self-directed services at any time. Your CCS will send a service referral to your chosen FMCS in LTSS Maryland. CCSs, you do not need to complete the participant FMCS choice form for people who are starting to self-direct. That form is only for people who are currently self-directing through the open enrollment process. Next slide. And the action steps for people who are new to self-direction are also a little different. Once you've chosen your FMCS and are ready to begin your self-directed journey, you'll need to make sure your PCP and budget are complete. Your PCP, participant agreement, rights and responsibilities documentation, service implementation plans, and any other documents that Support Assess need should go to the DDA for review. After the DDA approves your PCP, you will send your budget sheet, your family and staff form, and any wage exception forms to your chosen FMCS. They will make sure those documents meet program standards before you can begin your self-directed journey. I'll turn it back over to Monica to introduce our FMCS agencies.
Thank you, Christy. Up next, we'll hear from our FMCS agencies. GT Independence will go first. Next, you will hear from the ARC of Central Chesapeake region, followed by Public Partnerships.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you, Christy. We're excited to be here. My name is Rob Lewis from GT Independence. I'm our National Director of Business Development. I'm here with Kirsten Capeless, our Director of Business Development. So if you could skip 2 slides, that would be great. One more. So what you can expect from the next 10 to 12 minutes from Kirsten and I is what you can expect from GT when it comes to customer service and when you contact GT. We'll then go over the enrollment process, specifically from referral to enrollment. Then Kirsten will talk about the Caregiver app, which is the EVV compliant way that your employees will submit time. Then she'll talk about the GT portal, and that's where you will have access to all the real-time reports. And then I'll discuss a little bit more about our contact information and our rates. As we move into the next slide, I wanted to take a minute to talk about how GT began. So we've been providing services since 2004, so almost 20 years. We're still a family-owned and disability-led company. Our company was founded by the Carmichael family back in 2004, based off of the basic need to provide services to their oldest son, Ben, who's in the left picture in the middle. We fast forward 18 years later, in 2004, the picture on the right is Holly Carmichael, our current CEO, and her daughter, Maggie, who also, both Ben and Maggie, received self-directed services through a financial management and counseling service provider. So all of the technology and services that we talk about today are services that both Ben and Maggie receive and use themselves. GT only provides financial management and counseling services. We want to try to remove barriers to self-direction, and we want to do that by providing the best services and technology in the industry. So as we go into the next slide, and if you could go one more, customer service is one of the pillars that GT Independence stands for. We want to make sure that all of our customer service is very person-centered and meets participants where they're at. So some of the deliverables or metrics that we look at are how quickly can you reach a live person? And with GT, we do that within 30 seconds. And how we do that is through a sophisticated call routing system that automatically routes your phone call to an experienced and knowledgeable customer service associate for Maryland that understands all the program forms, understands all the state and federal tax forms, and is there to answer any questions that you may have. We also look at things such as, can we answer your questions within the first call? So on average, we have a 90% first call resolution. For those questions that, those 10% that take a little bit longer, we resolve those within 1 business day or 8 hours. I'd like to point out that we don't track things such as how many calls does a customer service associate take in a day, or how quickly can they end those calls. We want to make sure that we are there for 5 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, depending on what questions we may have. And then when it comes to customer satisfaction, twice a year we send out customer satisfaction surveys to CCSs, support brokers, employers, and employees. And across all those stakeholder groups, we average a 98% customer satisfaction. And then we're culturally sensitive or humble. We speak over 22 languages, including American Sign Language. Our internal staff do. And then we have access to every single language if one of our internal employees does not speak that language. But we do that because we really want to meet individuals in their preferred language and give them the information within that language. Next slide, please.
Another layer of our customer support services is making sure that you have all of the tools and resources available to you in order to be an effective employer, as well as having employees that understand their roles and responsibilities. We do this by adding training resources. So whether you contact our customer service live support in order to get help with your training needs, or access one of our many resources we have in our GT portal, YouTube videos, etc. We want to make sure you have everything you need, all the way down to caregiver app and GT portal training, as well as just a friendly phone voice on the other end to answer all your questions.
Oh, I'm getting ready to speak. I cannot have them barking.
Oh, next slide, please. In addition, we love to see what the public thinks about us. So Google is a great way to gauge what the public is currently thinking. So you can look at our Google review, which has over 500 reviews, and you can see we have a 4.1 star rating. So feel free to check it out yourself and see what real people are saying about us. Feel free to also look up our app and see how it's rating out in the public perspective. Next slide, please.
Well, thank you, Kirsten. So now I want to take a little bit of time to go through the referral and enrollment process. So as we move into the next slide, you're going to see a workflow, and this workflow really has 5 different areas of how we conduct our enrollments. So Donna, if you want to go to the next slide, thank you. So during the enrollment workflow, this on average takes about 5 to 7 business days to complete. This enrollment workflow really depends on the employer and employee's availability and when they can meet. It can be as quick as 1 hour or as many as 5 to 7 days, depending on their availability. So we initially get the referral. We contact all the stakeholders and thank them for the referral. We call and we schedule the enrollment date. That enrollment is typically done either in the person's home or place of their choosing within the community, or done virtually if that's the preference of the member. During that process, within 2 days, we do all employee eligibility checks and make sure that those background checks are completed accurately, and any training that is required is complete. And we have all of the training attestations or certificates at GT. From there, the day before the enrollment, our enrollment specialist will reach out and contact the family and their employees once again, just to double check, make sure that the enrollment is still at the time that we discussed day 1. From there, once we get to the enrollment, we'll go through and we'll execute all of those state, federal, and programmatic forms. During this enrollment, we are also going into in-depth training on the caregiver app. So both employers and employees understand how to submit and approve time. And we're also going through the GT portal and showing them how to access the different real-time reports that are available there. And then after the enrollment, we're providing follow-up communication with CCSs and support brokers in case they were unable to attend the meeting. And then obviously ongoing, we've got our customer service team that will answer any questions from all of those stakeholders. Donna, if you want to go to the next slide. Now, how we do our enrollment is through an electronic platform. And I guess before I get into the electronic platform, GT has 25 to 30 system engineers that builds all of our technology and platforms from scratch. And we do that, like I said earlier, to try to reduce or remove barriers to self-direction, make it easier for employers to direct their services and for employees to get paid. So one of those tools is GT Enroll. And this is a system that's accessible through any computer, tablet, or smartphone. It really ensures that all of the documents are filled out accurately and timely the first time. So this system does not allow you to skip over a field that is required, such as a signature or a date, or potentially I-9 documentation verifying the eligibility of an employee. So once all of that information is uploaded in here, that all comes over to GT, and it really increases, or I'm sorry, it really reduces the time from referral to the start date of a family or an individual. And it reduces those errors, or really eliminates any errors that can happen within the enrollment process. And then finally, GT is High Trust certified, which is the gold standard for data security. So all of your data is HIPAA compliant, HIPAA secure, and you don't have to worry about that with GT. Next slide, please.
I'm going to talk you through our GT Caregiver app. Next slide, please. GT's Caregiver app is our EVV solution. So as you already know, in January, EVV will be required for Maryland. We've been using our Caregiver app for about the last 7 years. We designed and created it for our own company in order to best navigate self-directed services. When we were looking around on the market, we didn't find anything else that quite met the need related to self-direction. So you'll find that time is easy to keep in the Caregiver app. It's very simple to clock in and out. Our app works with or without internet services. In addition, of course, it's free to download, whether you have an Android or an Apple device. It's also available in both English and Spanish. You can see on this page here that you're able to select your service codes. We've actually programmed the service codes specifically to what's approved in the PCP. Each participant's employees can only select the actual service codes that they're authorized to use. You can also indicate the services provided, which is a list of all of the approved ADL and IADL activities that are check boxes. And we have a great notes feature where you can click on a microphone and do voice to text right there inside of the app. We've used this, or seen it used really, in quite interesting ways, including individuals that wanted to keep track of seizure activity, so their employees were able to document duration and type of seizure as well as frequency. It connects right into our portal, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Next slide, please.
And Kirsten, as Don's going to the next slide, I just wanted to add, with those service codes, that's where I know Kirsten said what's in your plan, but also mileage or PTO is included in that service code. And all of those vendor payments or mileage or payments to your employees is all on a bi-weekly pay schedule. So every 2 weeks, those payments will be paid for all 3 of those stakeholders or services.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. When you get to the clocking out part, you come right to this approved visit screen where you're able to look at all of the information and click approve. To the participant or employer of record is able to sign off right inside of the app right then and there, or they could choose review later, which means they could go in through the portal and sign off that way instead. Next slide, please. Inside of our app, we have built-in app tutorial, which takes you step by step through the entire process. We also have user guides available inside of our portal, and I'll show you that in just a second. We have quite a few videos available that are very simple and easy to follow. We'll customize resources to meet your needs as well. So if you need them translated into another language. And on top of all of that, we offer live support. So even if you're using the app, you can click connect to live support and access our team. Our own GT staff use the same app to document their own time, which provides them the expertise to be able to help you through every step of the way. Next slide, please. So the GT portal integrates directly with the Caregiver app. As Rob said earlier, all of our systems are built by our own teams, so they're able to seamlessly communicate with one another. Next slide, please. The portal is your real-time access to reports and information. So regardless of the type of user, when you log into the portal, you come to the dashboard screen. On the dashboard screen, you can see unread notifications. So anything that we need to make sure you know is right there, including things like unsigned paychecks. So when you're ready to approve paychecks, if you're going in through the portal to do that, they're all listed right there, so you know right what to do. In addition, there's a whole host of reports that you can choose from, and you can pin your favorites right to this screen. So every time you log in, you're able to see your very favorite report. We use a sophisticated approach to make sure each user is accessing just the information that they have the permission to access. So participants can see all of the information. And then, for instance, their employees, they can see their pay stubs, their W-2s, information like how much sick time, paid time off they have left, or sick and safe leave. Next slide, please. Here's a list of our most commonly sought after reports. We have these 13 standard reports that people love to see, including the budget report. The calendar usage report is a very popular report, sorry. So in that calendar usage report, you can actually see the service codes as well as number of hours used on those codes by day. So it gives you kind of a month at a glance view, which really allows you to see the patterns of uses as well as where those gaps may be. And we'll talk about how to fill in those gaps in just a minute. Next slide, please. Resources, like I had talked a few minutes ago, we have quite a host of resources available right inside of the portal, so you can access them at any point in time. That includes the agency portal user guide as well as the caregiver flyer and user guides as well. Employment applications, different information about hiring resources if you're trying to recruit staff and how you may navigate that role. Next slide, please. So when you're thinking about recruiting staff, we have a great tool called the Caregiver Link. The Caregiver Link helps you connect with individual employees that are also seeking additional hours. So the participant is able to search by zip code. You can filter however many miles in distance you're willing to have your staff live. You can also search by language spoken or trainings that the person already has. All of the employees inside of the caregiver link have already passed the background check. They're already working for somebody right here in Maryland, and they're looking for additional hours. So it's a really great resource to help make sure you're getting all of your hours filled. We know that making sure you have staff to fill those hours is the best way to ensure health and safety and success of a self-directed program. Next slide, please.
Yeah, thank you, Kirsten. Yeah, the Caregiver Link is really one of the tools and resources that we felt obligated that we had to do this to really try to combat the caregiver shortage. So if you're looking for additional employees, we've got about 30,000 nationwide that are on that registry. As we continue to grow in Maryland, it'll just continue to be a better resource for everyone. So I know Kirsten and I threw a ton of information at you here. We're much more than just a payroll company or a technology company. As you can see here, there's about 10 different buckets of tasks that we provide as a financial management and counseling service provider, such as procuring workers' compensation for you, withholding and filing both state and federal taxes, and communicating with those taxing authorities. I do want to point out our per member per month rate of $123 each month. That is going to be constant over the life of this contract. So for all 5 years, our rate will remain at $123. And we're the only FMCS provider that does not increase their rate year over year. Next slide, please, Donna. So if you have additional questions, or if you want more of a demonstration, a one-on-one demonstration of any of our technologies, such as the Caregiver app or the portal, we're happy to do that. You can send in a customer service request to customerservice@gtsd.org. And if you've got any information regarding a referral, you can also email referral@gtsd.org. During this transition timeline, if you do select GT for a 1/1/2023 start, we will conduct those enrollment visits in December. So it gives you about a month and a half to understand that we'll schedule that at a time that works best for you and your employees. And then finally, our two main contacts here, Jen Durgans, our Director of Relationships for Maryland, and then Kirsten, who you've heard from today, our Director of Business Development. Please feel free to reach out to any of us, and we'd be happy to answer that. We look forward to serving you, and I'll pass it back to you, Monica.
Thank you, GT. And up next, we have the ARC of Central Chesapeake Region. And before they go, I'd just like to note one housekeeping. Please mute your mic if you're not speaking. Thank you very much. Lee, Karen?
Thanks, Monica. I know that Lee has joined us by phone call. So yeah, we'll see when she can pipe in. But good evening. I am Karen Bradbury. I am the Director of Outreach at the ARC Central Chesapeake Region. And co-presenting with me today is Lee McHarg, Director of Employer Resources. Lee and I will be sharing with you what we think would be helpful for you to know about the ARC as you are assessing your FMCS provider options. We also want to express our gratitude to the Maryland Department of Health as they ensured participants would continue to have choice of their FMCS providers under the new service contract. It's important that participants have a say in who supports them. Next slide, please. When getting to know an organization, it's worth looking at the company's roadmap. That begins with a review of the company's vision, mission, and values. You can see that the ARC's focus is on the person living the life that they choose. The ARC's role is to promote access to the services they need to help make that happen. Next slide, please. Also important to look at a company's history. The ARC Central Chesapeake Region started with a promise by a group of parents who envisioned a different future for their children than what was available to them in 1961. Since that date, the ARC has grown dramatically and now supports thousands of people with disabilities and their families each year. The ARC's programs and services support the full spectrum of a person's life from birth through retirement and all the joys and opportunities in between. Next slide, please. At this time of open enrollment, we know you have a choice regarding who supports you throughout your self-directed journey, and it is an important one. We want you to have all the information you need to make the most informed decision. Why should you choose the ARC? We think the ARC's history with self-direction in Maryland, our relationships with key stakeholders, our customer-centric approach, and our commitment to transformation are all important reasons why the ARC stands out as the clear choice. And I will let Lee chime in next.
Thank you, Karen. The ARC has shown its commitment to self-direction by serving self-directed Marylanders for nearly 20 years. The ARC continues its commitment to self-direction in Maryland by building the necessary infrastructure to support the growth and fulfill the need for robust program integrity and accountability. As a longtime Maryland-based nonprofit organization, the ARC has developed valuable institutional knowledge from its experience and strives for continuity of services. The ARC currently serves 2,000 program participants statewide. Next slide, please. Throughout your self-directed journey.
Hold on, Lee. I think we got to go one more slide. I think we missed one. Sorry. There we go. Oh. We got to go forward too, Donna. Thank you.
Okay. Throughout your self-directed journey, you want an organization who knows Maryland-based resources, advocacy groups, and key contacts. Across the ARC's 60 years as a Maryland provider and nearly 2 decades of serving self-directed participants, we have developed strong community connections that will benefit you. The ARC has partnered with Maryland-based support broker agencies, Centers for Independent Living, with whom we have long-standing relationships to ensure FMCS counselors are available in participants' local communities across the state. Due to our legacy services, the ARC has also developed networks with CCS agencies, as well as veteran support brokers and administrators for the state of Maryland. Next slide, please. The ARC takes a customer-centric approach towards services. In self-direction, you are the boss, but understanding how we can help you is critical. It's our role to provide you with the information you need to make important decisions. That's where we come in. We have an experienced team ready to help you navigate common challenges, and the ARC prioritizes timely, professional, and thorough responses to your inquiries. When you call, you speak with us, Karen and I, and our team, and our knowledgeable team members directly. It's our goal for you to be successful as an employer, and we are here to help you navigate those common employer challenges. At the ARC, we are here for you and because of you. Next slide, please. For those currently being served by the ARC, you will notice the state's new program requirements and processes, but we will work with you to successfully maneuver and adapt. While there will be changes you can expect, we are committed to continuing to deliver a high level of service and support and navigate the changes and safeguard community continuity. We're here to deliver everything that you're used to receiving. We are in this together. We commit to delivering the high level of customer service and support you have always come to expect from the ARC. Through the implementation of our new software, FMS Engine, we will ensure we can establish the compliance which the state requires while making self-direction easier and more transparent. And Karen's getting ready to talk to you a little bit about that. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Lee. So yeah, we implemented FMS Engine earlier this month. It is our new purpose-built software, and it is adding transparency to our services and making information easier to access. The ARC knows that when you choose to self-direct, you experience greater autonomy and at the same time accept more responsibility. FMS Engine acts like a personal assistant to ensure things get done right. Here are some of the benefits of FMS Engine. The system provides a participant dashboard available to the participants team, including their CCS and support broker, with real-time spending information, so you know exactly where things stand with your budget. Gone are the days of emailed monthly budget statements. Instead, you'll be able to log in and view your budget balance online 24/7. There are also multiple reports available to the team, and it's truly all the information you need to manage your services. Our new electronic timekeeping app called EVI is a module of FMS Engine and will provide electronic visit verification or EVV compliance. There are a few things about EVI that make it awesome, such as no internet is no problem for EVI. The app is able to record shift time and location and store it until an internet connection is established. Also available in the app, employees will have a list of activities of daily living, or ADLs, from which to choose, as well as a narrative box for any shift notes that are required. When employees are recording a shift, only service codes authorized in the participant's plan and budget will be available to them to select. Coming soon, we will also be launching Ivory, our telephonic visit verification technology, which is another means to record time entries in the event that you do not have a smartphone or tablet. All you need for Ivory would be a landline. And then coming in 2023, FMS Engine is going to offer a self-service portal for automated online employee onboarding, which will help expedite the hiring process and get employees working quicker. And it's HIPAA compliant and secure, so all employee data would be safe. We are very excited about how FMS Engine is making self-direction easier for those that we serve. We encourage everyone to visit our new dedicated tools and technology page on our website for training videos, quick start guides, user manuals, and a ton of other information. Next slide, please. And it is worth noting that the ARC has a $200 a month FMCS fee. Some of you may be be wondering why such a big difference in the rates, it is important to know that our new fee is a reduction in the previous average fee of $250 per month. And as a 20-year legacy provider, continuing to serve self-directed Marylanders is very important to us. The ARC is proud to have the opportunity to continue to provide services, but we are also making the commitment to the critical investments in the new technology, infrastructure, staffing resources, and other tools necessary to scale services and meet the state's new requirements. And as the only nonprofit FMCS provider, the ARC is continually focused on enhancing and investing in services for people in self-direction that go beyond the required scope. That means the economic impact of your choice to select the ARC as your FMCS provider and the fee that you pay stays in the state of Maryland. Another benefit is our personal connection to you. Since we serve only Maryland, we have specialists and managers whose sole focus is on Maryland's self-directed stakeholders. When you call us, you are reaching out to your Maryland office and being served by our Maryland-based self-directed services team, committed to providing individualized support and assistance. Next slide, please. And we do issue an annual participant satisfaction survey. Across the last 3 years, participants and their teams have provided a ton of great feedback, which we've used as a barometer to determine how we're doing in the eyes of those that we serve. Here are some of those direct quotes that we received as a part of that survey that I'd like to share. We appreciate the commitment and quality you bring to your services and the timely way staff responds to questions and concerns. We also received the quote, "A lot of great folks that really care about folks with disabilities. We've really come to love working with the ARC. They're quick to respond about any concerns that we have. They provide a great service and they just keep getting better all the time. Highly recommended." We also received feedback stating payroll services and accounts payable team members are awesome. They're always polite and answer all questions and easy to understand explanations. So we appreciate all of that feedback. And next slide, please. So just to wrap things up, we're hopeful that the information Lee and I have shared with you helps you to better understand the benefits of choosing the ARC as your FMCS provider. You still have questions? We are here for you. Our website is truly a one-stop shop for tons of great information about the enrollment process, our technology, or any other questions that you may have. You are also welcome to reach out and give us a call. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for your time tonight, and thanks for your time tonight and taking your time out of your day to learn about the new FMCS providers. The ARC looks forward to working with you, the Maryland Department of Health, stakeholders, and additional FMCS providers to support Marylanders with disabilities that self-direct. And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen and Lee. Up next, public partnerships.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Susan Segru, and I am the community liaison located here in Maryland with public partnerships. If you could skip actually 2 slides, please. Today, I am here to talk to you about 3 reasons to choose public partnerships as your FMCS provider. Throughout this presentation, you're actually going to see a few of our real participants that we serve. This is Anita Paris, and she's been self-directing with us since 2018. There's actually a really nice video of her on our website where she talks about her experience with us so far. If you want, I'm definitely going to give you the link later to check it out. So definitely a good one to watch. Next slide, please. So today I'm going to talk to you about the financial benefits for you, your loved one, and employees, the easy enrollment process with hands-on help, and public partnerships 20+ years of experience. Next slide, please. The first, sorry, one more slide. The first thing I want to talk about is public partnerships is the lowest cost FMCS provider at $83 a month. That means that choosing PPL gives you the option to save between $480 and $1,400 per year. That's more money in your budget to allocate as you see fit. Next slide, please. So I want you to think about that for a minute. Has there been something you've been thinking of adding into your budget, but you just haven't been able to have the funds to do so? Choosing PPL gives you more freedom in your budget. It gives you more flexibility. You might be able to get a new piece of equipment, more training, different benefits. Whatever you decide, you'll have the extra money to do so. Next slide, please. Next, I want to talk to you about a benefit that we offer specifically for your employees, and that's called daily pay. With daily pay, any day can be payday. This is something that is specifically for employees and it does not impact your budget. Daily pay is a service that gives your employees the option to access their pay within the next business day of your approval. For a fee as low as 49 cents, they can access their pay and use it as they see fit. This is a really helpful benefit because sometimes those emergencies happen, and I want you to be rest assured that we have parameters in place to make sure people don't utilize this too much. They're not going to be able to use their entire paycheck. It's just to access those emergency funds or whatever they may need to use it for. Next slide, please. Next, I want to talk to you about our easy enrollment process with hands-on help. Next slide. How do you get started with PPL? Well, first you want to contact your CCS provider and let them know that you want to move forward with public partnerships. They'll send over a referral to us from the LTSS system, and that's when we'll assign you your one point of contact, which is your enrollment specialist. That enrollment specialist will be with you throughout the entirety of the program, and they're going to be the ones to help walk you through everything. They'll walk you through our portal, they'll walk you through our mobile app, all of our tools. They'll be there to answer any questions. They can meet with you in person at your home, in a mutual location, virtually, or in our office. And they're going to walk you through onboarding paperwork and help to complete everything to make sure that everything's completed accurately the first time. They'll then submit it in our My Account portal, and then you'll be good to go to start with public partnerships. Next slide, please. So now let's talk a little bit more about our My Account. My Account is a really easy to use dashboard that can be used in a web browser on your phone, your computer, or any other handheld device. This online portal has a personalized dashboard that is unique to each person's role. Each team member, your employees, participants, CCS will be given their own unique login, and their view will be specific to their role. So that means that your employees aren't going to be able to review how much you're paying your other employees or your budget. You can also review your budget in real time here, as well as review reports like past pay periods. You can review pay by employee, as well as review your utilization report. In fact, we actually send out a monthly utilization report to you so that you can better track your budget as well. You can also approve time here for the past pay period if you prefer to use that over the app. You can also upload an e-signature, which gives you the capability to just populate. You save a signature, and each time you need to sign something, it'll populate and you just tap it, which makes it really efficient and to move really quickly. Your enrollment specialist can walk you through this. And provide any trainings. And we also have some really great walkthrough videos on our website. The dashboard has really simple to use graphics, and we're always here to answer any questions you may have. Next slide, please. This is our Time for Care application, which is our EVV solution. It's currently used across 13 states, and it was created in 2015 when nothing else was on the market. It can be used on both Android and Apple systems. And I also want to let you know that this can be used in English, and if you set your device to Spanish, it can be used in Spanish as well. This app is going to be where you're going to clock in and clock out, which is where it's going to capture your GPS location for that brief moment in time. It's not going to track you throughout the duration of your day. It's a really cool application because it sends reminders to clock out. You can add notes during your shift about what you've been doing, what activities have been completed, or you can add it at the end if you so choose. You can also review payroll here. You can approve time. You can approve a shift at the end. You're just going to sign right there. And in our settings, you have the option to add biometrics, so you can use your thumb to log in really quickly. And it also has a walkthrough video, a walkthrough feature actually, where it'll take you through every single part of the app and how to use it. You can also review EVV compliance here. It's going to have a little circle on the bottom where it'll be green for everything's going great, yellow, let's have a conversation, and red, we really got some work to do. I really like that feature because with this new EVV compliance, you might be wondering, well, how am I going to track this? How am I going to know if someone's EVV compliant? On this app, it just shows a really easy to use grid. If you don't have a mobile device or your employee doesn't, and you're looking for another option for EVV compliance, we also have an option called telephony, which is our landline service. So it's not something that can be used in the community, but if someone has a landline, they can call to clock in and clock out. On this application is also where you can submit mileage. Next slide, please. Now let's talk about public partnerships over 20 years of experience. Next slide. So PPL was founded in 1999, and we've been the leading FMCS provider nationwide in self-direction since. We actually just celebrated our 23rd birthday in July, and we are excited to bring you the portal, app, and tools which have been tried and tested over the course of those years. We've been in Maryland before. We were here for 7 years where we served for 2 fixed contracts. And when this contract came available, we were really excited to get back in here and support you guys. We pride ourselves in the hands-on help that we offer participants, and we're always available to do in-person or virtual problem solving as well as trainings. Next slide. So what can you expect from us? You can expect a welcome call to you and your team members, an enrollment meeting, a weekly touch base, comprehensive training, tools, counselors, and support. I also want to note that we have a team of tax professionals, which include CPAs and a legal team that specialize in federal taxes, IRS rules, as well as Maryland state and county specific rules and regulations. They help keep track of all the changes and regulations, and they'll provide notice to participants as well as assist with meeting those new rules. Next slide. So we have an office here in Maryland. All I ask is that you call ahead and make an appointment because we're often out in the field. It's right across from the Raven Stadium. It has parking right on site, so you don't have to walk too far. Next slide, please. So what did we go over today? We went over the financial benefits that public partnerships offers for you, your loved one, and employees, our easy enrollment process with hands-on help, and our 20+ years of experience. Next slide. Please reach out to us. We are here to help. Our goal is to help you have a successful journey in self-direction. You can call our customer service. Jose Padilla is actually our customer service lead in Maryland, and we have a customer service team to support him as well. And they all have access to a language line to support you in whatever language you need. You can also email us. We will make sure to email you back within 24 hours. And I encourage you to visit our website. There's a lot of tools there for self-direction, as well as video walkthroughs of all of our programs, all of our portal, our application, and it's just a really great place to find resources. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you to all of our FMCSs for your informative presentations. I'm sorry, let me double check something. There we go. If anyone has any specific questions related to an individual or for any of the FMCS agencies, please contact their designated representative. Their information is listed here. A live person will be able to answer your questions during this important decision-making process. Next slide, please. Here we have listed the statewide coordinator, Christy Colbreth, who spoke to you earlier, as well as the regional SDS leads. All of their information is listed in this slide for you. Next slide, please. DDA also has many resources and tools for self-directing, including a training calendar. We also have the FMCS monthly fees listed on our website for a side-by-side comparison, as well as a direct link to each FMCS's webpage. Next slide, please. So in closing, I'd like to thank you all for attending the FMCS Informational Fair today. Again, please visit the website for any upcoming trainings or events. Everything is posted there for you. Now I'd like to turn it back over to Christy, who's going to facilitate the question and answers, and Donna will conduct the polls. Thank you both very much. You're on mute, Christy.
All right, you can hear me now?
Yep.
Thank you so much, Monica, and thank you so much, agencies, for your really great information. We have several questions in the chat, so I'm going to get started, but just a reminder, if you have not already, please include any questions that you have for each agency in the questions box. We'll go through, I'll ask a question, and then I'll pose it to each FMCS agency. We'll do it the alternate direction this time. So we'll go PPL, then the ARC, and then GT. And we'll make sure that each agency gets a chance to answer the question, and then we'll move on. And hopefully we'll see questions, follow-up questions come up as those questions are answered. So the first question for PPL, and then for ARC, and then for GT. How will your agency support people to be EVV compliant? That's electronic visit verification. Describe your products. So Susan at PPL, are you ready?
I am. Thank you so much for the question. So we do have our app, which is Time for Care. It's EVV compliant, and we currently use it across 13 states. That is where you're going to clock in and clock out. And that clock in and clock out feature is where it will show EVV compliance, because it will capture the GPS location in that moment of clock in and clock out. There's also a feature in our app that I had mentioned, and it helps to monitor EVV compliance. You'll see green for in the good, yellow for we have some work to do, and red, we really gotta get going and work on this. It's time to act on it. We also have an option called telephony, and that is a landline service where you're able to call in to clock in and clock out. That's going to be for people that don't have a mobile device, and neither do their employees, nor do they want one, but they would have to have a landline to use that service.
Thank you. Now, Karen or Lee at the ARC.
Yep, so kind of along the same lines as Susan said, we also have a component of FMS Engine called EBI, and EBI is a EVV compliant timekeeping system. So I am encouraging folks, if you are currently with us and you are using Paycom, our current electronic timekeeping software, have your staff start doing their time in and out punches now in real time, so that way once EVV compliance comes up to a head, you guys will be prepared for that transition. EVI also has push notifications, and along the same lines, we also have that landline option for those folks that are without internet or without technology. So definitely lots of options, and I would encourage everyone to check out our tools and technology page on our website. Thanks, Christy.
Great. And now Kirsten with GT.
There we go. Sorry, the lags just a second. Thanks, Christy. What a great question. Our caregiver app is easy to use. In fact, over 90% of the people that use it rate it as very easy to use. And we have over a 70% voluntary adoption rate. That means in those states that don't yet require it, we're still having 7 out of 10 people choose to use it because it's just that simple. Our app will work with or without internet services, so that does really help bolster the EVV compliance, so you don't have to worry if you have a signal or not. It captures all the right information. We also will help you get a device if you're struggling to get a device. There are resources throughout Maryland. As you probably already know, Maryland is a technology first state, which means that you're able to access those services right with your waiver dollars. The SILs across the state have lending closets, so you could try things before you buy them. There's so many great resources out there, and then we can help you navigate how to get some of those free phones that have been funded by Medicaid for years as well. Our own GT staff use our caregiver app, so they're the best experts because they're using it every day, all day long, to log their own shifts. So not only do we have the traditional training resources like videos and printed guides, we also have live customer support that is familiar in using the app all day long. In terms of EVV compliance, so your participants are able to see an EVV report right inside of the portal, so you can keep track of compliance that way as well. Thanks for the question.
Great. All right. Our next question is from someone who I think is familiar to self-direction, who has a couple of questions regarding timeline. So we'll start with PPL and go down the line. What is your turnaround time to process updates like rate changes, retroactive pay, and even answering emails? Susan at PPL?
Oh, sorry, there's a little lag there. I'm going to actually pass this one over to our Maryland account manager, Chantel. She's on the line.
Thank you, Susan. Chantel Talley with PPL. So our processing of rate changes is actually done self-service. It's a feature that we rolled out in our My Account system that actually allows the employers to go into the My Account system, enter a rate change for their employee. And as long as it's within those reasonable and customary rates that are required for the program, they enter that rate, they enter the date, and then it will become effective. So that is when rate changes are processed. If there's any updates to any documentation, again, our portal is self-service. So employees, if they need to make changes to their W-4 form, if an employer needs to add someone, do anything like that, they can go into our portal. Now, again, as a reminder, you will have that enrollment specialist that will be with you for the life of you being in the program with PPL. So if you don't want to go in and do it self-service, they can also assist you in completing that. If they need to come out to your home, meet you virtually, meet you at a place of your choosing, Starbucks, maybe you want some coffee that day, they can definitely assist you in that. Also, our customer service team is trained to assist. So if your enrollment specialist is at another meeting and they're not able to get to you right away, they'll also be able to assist you with that.
And Chantel, just a follow up on that when it comes to rate changes.
Sure.
When you do it self-service, does that mean that it is effective immediately as soon as you do it?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. All right, and so now the ARC. What is your turnaround time for updates like rate changes, retroactive pay, and answering emails?
Yeah, so I would say as far as pay rate changes go, I know that right now we're a little bit behind in that processing, so we'll definitely own up to that. But as long as we have all of the necessary documentation needed for us to make that adjustment in our payroll system, it should take no longer than a week. And then as we are encouraging people to utilize our ticketing system, you can find that link on our website, and we are striving to answer tickets within a 24-hour time frame.
All right, and GT, what is your turnaround time for employee updates like rate changes, retroactive pay, and answering emails?
Thank you for the question. So answering emails, we strive to answer every email inside of the day we receive it, and definitely within 24 hours of receiving it. We usually answer them much faster than that, but we do make sure within 24 hours. In terms of retro pay, paying on time is a brand promise for us, and so we work really hard to make sure you're always receiving your pay on time. However, we know that sometimes things happen. Somebody maybe forgets to turn in time or didn't get approved by the participant or employer of record, or any kind of glitch that might come up that impacts pay. We're able to do off-cycle pay in order to help make sure people are getting access to their funds as quickly and on time as possible. Rates and updating rates, it is part of our responsibility to make sure they fall within the reasonable and customary standards by DDA. So we're able to instantly put them into our system, but that is one of the things that we'll double check to make sure you're staying with within all of the rules and guidelines. So we're a resource to you to make sure we know all of the Maryland rules and you're navigating your program in that way.
Great. Our next question is something that I think we've gotten asked every time we've done one of these, so I love when I see it. What is the process for paying vendors and receiving reimbursements, including mileage? So the question is, how does the person submit invoices and forms for payment, and what's the timeline? When do those employees or other folks get paid? PPL?
So you can submit that right in our My Account. There's a form where you can submit for vendor and mileage. You can also submit mileage on our application. We pay vendors and mileage on a weekly basis. If you prefer to email your form, a vendor form, or mileage, you can do that as well. Thank you.
Great. The ARC. What is the process for paying vendors and receiving mileage reimbursement? How do you submit that, and how much and how long does it take?
So vendor payments at this point can be submitted to us either via email or fax. We have designated inboxes for both vendor payments and mileage reimbursement forms. So those go to the designated inboxes at this time as a part of FMS Engine. We are hoping in 2023 to have kind of an upload portal for that documentation. So it'll be uploaded right into FMS Engine, and then you guys can track it for processing. We process vendor payments on a weekly basis. So if we get them on Wednesday by noon, they are processed for the next Friday for payment. And then we process mileage reimbursement on a monthly basis.
And GT, what is the process for paying vendors and receiving mileage reimbursement?
So vendors are able to submit invoices through our GT portal. You can fax, email, or scan them. Any method is just fine by us. There are more than one type of vendor. So for instance, a support broker as a vendor, they would submit it that way. The participant would acknowledge and sign off saying it's okay to pay the support broker. But there's also another type of vendor, like for instance, if somebody wants to have a membership at the Y, if it's approved inside of the PCP, and then we get documentation signed off by the participant saying to go ahead and purchase that, we're able to actually purchase on the behalf. So the participant's not waiting to get reimbursed, but instead we make the direct purchase for them. In terms of mileage, you can submit mileage rate inside of the caregiver app. So that's nice and simple. You also can use traditional paper mileage reimbursement forms should you wish. If you do that, you can fax, scan, email, or upload through the portal those paper mileage forms if that's your preference. In terms of payment reimbursement for the employees, the vendors, and mileage, we reimburse every 2 weeks on the same pay cycle. Thank you for the question.
Great. I like this question too. We've seen it a couple of times, so I'm really excited to share that our contract with these agencies does require that each of them have an office located in Maryland. So the question is, in your offices, can we come visit you? Can we do meetings at your office? And do you take walk-ins? PPL?
Yes, so we do have an office because we are often out in the field meeting people at their homes or at a different location. We do ask that you set an appointment, but we do have an office. Like I said, it's right across from the Ravens Stadium. I believe it's Austin Street, and there's parking right on site. And Baltimore, that's a hot commodity. So you literally walk like 2 seconds to the door instead of 15 minutes. But you can absolutely visit us there. Just ask that you call and set an appointment.
Great. ARC?
I'll take this one. This is Lee. You can absolutely come and visit our office at any time. We do suggest that you make an appointment so that we can be prepared and have everything ready. Some people do like to do that with their new hire paperwork, something they don't understand. They don't have a computer to go through Teams and go over the paperwork that way. Sometimes they want an in-person enrollment meeting. There's various times when we do meet with people. So yeah, we definitely offer that for sure. Thank you.
Great. And GT?
Thank you for the question. We also have an office. It's required in the Maryland contract, so everyone has an office, and we're more than willing to meet you in the office. Honestly, pre-pandemic, we did 99% of our enrollments in person. We definitely love a person-centered approach. Our person-centered approach has always been to bring our services to you. Transportation is tough, and we try not to make people drive unnecessarily. So we'll drive to you. We'll meet you in the community or the place of your choosing. We'll also meet you virtually, of course, over the phone, electronically, whatever you prefer. But if your preference is to meet us in our office, please do that. So just let us know if you're coming by. Pretty soon we'll have 2 staff all the time in our office where you can just walk in anytime. Right now we're doing enrollments by appointment inside of our office if you choose to do it that way. So far people still like us coming to them more.
Great. All right, next question. This has to do with EVV and technology in general. So how do you, as a company, support people, their employees, and their families to understand the technology that's necessary for EVV and also just to access the resources that you have online? PPL?
Thank you for your question. So we can absolutely set a one-on-one meeting to go through our portal, to go through our app, to walk through exactly what EVV compliance is. Your enrollment specialist is going to be your main point of contact, and they can come out to your house and meet you really wherever you'd like, or meet you virtually if you so choose. To go through everything. But we also have YouTube videos, which you can pull up right on your phone or any web browser, that give you a walkthrough of our applications and of our portal. But we really like to do a hands-on approach where we problem solve at a family level, at a personal level. So we want to meet you where you're at as far as how tech savvy you are, and be able to provide you with the appropriate training.
Great. Ark?
Lee again. So for EVV compliance, what we do is we start out with the online portal, our online web. We have lots of videos, there's instructions, and then if people find that the videos are not sufficient enough, the instructions are not sufficient enough, we also encourage people to reach out. We can do a Teams meeting with them, walk them through the process, and once again, if they needed to meet with us so that we could go through the training, we could certainly do that as well. Thank you.
Great. And GT?
Thank you. We view technology as so much more than just the caregiver app. First and foremost, we try to make our technology as simple and easy to use as possible. Like I said earlier, our caregiver app, 90% of the people view it as easy to use, and they rated that by their own perspectives, but we do things inside of it that make it that way. So we use multiple different learning approaches. So we have, for instance, in our portal on the budget report, we have things that look like bank statements, but then also at the top we have like a little circle, and the part of the circle that is available budget money is green, and then the red is the used budget. So if you're a visual learner, you have that visual cueing. Inside of our app, it's the same way. If the timesheet is signed and already received by GT, the employee themselves can look in the app and see the green, it's ready to pay. If it's yellow, it may still need a signature. It actually will tell you exactly what's needed right in there. We have all of the traditional resources. We have videos, we have printed materials, we have English and Spanish, all of the things you may need in that regard. But more than anything, we offer our customer service approach. So call us, we're happy to come out. We do the training in person every single time with you and your employees upon enrollment, and then we continue to support you throughout the use. Thanks.
Right. I like this question too. So GT shared a little bit about their provider portal, this ability to see employees that might be looking for more work. So the question is for all three of you, what supports and resources do you have that support people who might be looking for employees? And Kirsten, when we get to you, you can share a little bit more about GT portal as well. So PPL, what resources and tools do you use to support people in recruitment?
So we do have our Care Connect in my account, and it's where you're going to see employees that have signed up that are open to work. And we also encourage people to use social media to do their posts. We are connected to quite a few advocacy groups and different Facebook groups on social media, but your enrollment specialist is also going to be that main contact that will help you navigate different avenues with recruiting employees.
I'm going to add something
sorry.
with the PPL Connect application. So it allows for an employer to search by different regions, area codes. You can choose a different city within the state that you want. There are some different features, like maybe they have some special skills that you're looking for in terms of IADLs. So there are several different ways that you can narrow down the worker that you're choosing. And then you can also put an ad on our actual PPL Connect provider directory. And in that ad, you can list the things that you're actually looking for. If you look at PPL's handbook, we actually have tips and tricks for employers on what does it mean to look for an employee, some different hiring tips. And then also, how do you place a job ad? Where should you look for individuals and employees to provide services to you? So we have multiple ways in which we can support you with our PPL Connect app.
Right. All right. Art, what resources do you have to support people in recruitment? That's the question.
This is Lee again. Working in onboarding, we get this a lot. So the way that we assist is we've been asked to help people just with ideas for advertising, getting the word out, reaching out to people in the community, offering ways to utilize social media to just get the word out. And they also have their support brokers who will share information as well. So we encourage them to utilize that method as well. Thank you.
Great. And GT, if you have any more to share about GT portal or any other resources that you use to support people in recruitment.
Thank you. I did talk earlier about inside of our portal, we have our caregiver link. We do ensure that the individuals inside of that have already passed the background check. They're ready to work in Maryland. They're looking for more work. We have all the filterable search features, including language spoken, zip code. We actually have over 30,000 individuals inside of the portal caregiver link already. In addition, we're certainly connected to the Maryland advocacy groups like SDAN. We're inside of the Facebook groups, which is an excellent way to connect with other employees looking for work. We help people learn how to advertise in places like colleges where you can get some individuals that are looking for some hours that are also really skilled and able to do great work. Inside of our employer handbook, which we provide to you when we do our initial training during enrollment, we have a whole section on how to navigate hiring responsibilities, what interview questions to ask, where to advertise. We give you sample job advertisements and postings, and then we continue to help you and support you along the way. Thank you.
Great. I haven't seen this question. maybe ever. So this is also exciting. So this is a question for all three FMCSs. Do you use an independent company to provide payroll services like Paycom? Like how do you process payroll? And do you use an independent company to do that? PPL?
I'm going to pass this one over to Chantel Talley.
Thank you for that. PPL is a financial management service. We are a fiscal agent through the IRS. So we are certified as a company to actually provide these services ourselves. We do not use a separate organization or company to do payroll processing or any of our systems. We build all of our systems ourselves, and we process all of our payrolls ourselves as well.
Great. Ark?
Yeah, so we have a dedicated payroll team along with a host of financial reporting professionals and CPAs. They do utilize Paycom as their processing software for that, but that will soon be transitioning over an FMS engine, but that's simply just the software that's processing the payroll and the timesheets, but we have a whole team and they're full of expertise.
That's a good clarification. Thanks, Karen. And Kirsten, GT?
Thank you for the question. We also are registered with the IRS as an official FMS, and we have our own internal payroll team. We do all of our core business, all of our business for that matter, inside of our company. So regardless of if it's building systems or issuing payroll, our caregiver app talks to our portal and it talks to our internal accounting system. That's how we do things like utilization management and make sure all of the business rules for Maryland are applied not only within the timekeeping app, but also within the payroll system. So we're able to set up and customize specific to the state rules to make sure you're always in compliance, not only with the federal components, but also the state and local components. Thank you.
Great. And this is also payroll related. So what happens? What is the internal process if a team forgets to turn in their timesheet? If it's due, I believe, on a Monday, and the team doesn't get it until Tuesday, what is the process? Can payrolls be run off cycle? PPL?
They can, and actually I'm going to let Chantel take this one as well since she's the account manager for Maryland.
So PPL does have an off-cycle payroll process that we can run for all of our participants and their employees. So if you forget, there's an emergency, something's going on, that request would come directly to me, and I would go ahead and work with our team to ensure that that off-cycle payment is completed. I do like to let people know that PPL does educate all of our employees and participants on our escalation process when you are trained at the start of the program. So we'll let you know exactly who you reach out to if there's ever a time in which you actually forget to have your employee submit their time or you approve that time. And we always like to let people know that it's just as much as important for your employees to submit their time as for you to approve it. So we do have our tools such as notifications in our mobile application to actually let the employers know. So you'll receive a notification on your Time for Care app if you download it, telling you that your employee has submitted their timesheet for approval. So that's a tool that we use to help you remember to actually approve their timesheets. So you may want to get in the habit of just making sure that if you use the app, if you know that you haven't seen a request for approval of a timesheet come through on your phone as a notification, that's a clue for you to actually reach out to your employees and check in and see what's going on with them actually completing their time.
Great. Thank you. Ark?
So obviously we strongly encourage people to submit and approve their staff's time on time, just because it's the cleanest way to do business, but we understand that things happen and we often process off-cycle payrolls, but we kind of look at things situationally to just, we don't want anybody getting in the habit of submitting timesheets 3 days late, because that doesn't do anybody any favors. I think with folks going into EVI and using that electronic timekeeping, things will run a lot smoother. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's really just going to be those employees ensuring that their putting in their time, and then employers approving that time, which now that it can be done on an app, that should be a lot easier than everybody submitting those paper timesheets.
Great. GT?
Sorry it takes so long. I need to start sooner for the camera. Thank you for the question. We know getting paid on time is so essential. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck these days. So of course we do everything we can to ensure people get paid on time. Like I said a couple questions ago, it's really a brand promise of ours to get people paid on time. So we try really hard to go the extra step. We'll do things like we'll watch to see if time's being submitted. If we see that no time's being submitted at all during the actual weeks of work, we'll be calling people to say, is everything okay? We're not seeing any time being submitted. You know, are you, in the hospital and we didn't know it, or are you having trouble with the app and you need help? Like, what's going on? Why aren't you having time submitted? When it comes time to do payroll, if we have somebody that submits it a day late, we know life gets in the way. We'll still process it. It's just what we do to help make sure people get paid on time. We've been processing things up until the day before it's paid in order to hurry and push it through. Of course, we don't, always have the capacity to do it the day of, but we're able to issue off-cycle pay, and we usually can issue that pay within the same day that we process it. So even off-cycle pay oftentimes can be the same day or the next day. So if something happened that really got in the way where somebody couldn't submit time, we can get it done really fast. Thank you for the question. Such an important one.
Our next question I'm going to answer is regarding EVV for CDS and other things. So the question is, do you have to clock in and out for community development services in EVV? So the EVV requirement, electronic visit verification, the requirement starts on January 1st, 2023, and it applies to personal supports and to respite. And so those are the reporting requirements that each FMCS is required to do. Now, you've heard a lot about all of these companies' electronic timekeeping, and just because we don't require EVV documentation for CDS or ongoing job supports or wage support broker does not mean you cannot use their electronic process. We actually recommend it. Electronic timesheets are great. So I hope that answers that question. We're going to keep going. I like this one. For each FMCS, where are the forms located for vendor payments, mileage, and other reimbursements? Where can the team get forms to fill out to get paid? PPL?
So that is going to be on our website that you can find that, and also in our My Account as well.
Great. Ark?
Yep, so likewise, those forms are all located on our website, and they're also provided as a part of the enrollment process.
And GT?
We keep our forms in our portal for easy access to make sure you have the right forms. Also, just give us a call. We're happy to send them to you, so you don't have to go looking or hunting for something. If you're not sure where it is or what you need, just call us and we'll step you through it.
Great. Next question, also in regards to EVV. Do live-in caregivers need to use EVV? For example, parents or other close family members? The answer is yes. If they are providing personal supports or respite, EVV is required across the board. This requirement is the same in our traditional service model. All right. Oh, I like this one too. For each FMCS, what computer and software requirements are required to be able to use your portal? For example, must you have a Gmail account, or will another email account do? So what are the computer and software requirements of using your portals? PPL?
I'm going to pass this right over to Chantel as well.
So in order to use our My Account system, you will need to have an email account set up. It could be any service. Gmail's a free one. People still use Yahoo. believe it or not. And there's other services out there. Maybe you have a school email address or something like that. But that is a requirement for all of our participants as well as their employees. And depending on the type of vendor, if they want to access our account, they'll also have to have an email address. As it relates to system requirements, so you will need to use a up-to-date web browser in order to access our My Account system. So there's Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox. You'll just want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date one in order to access our systems. We do update our system to make sure that it's within the security standards for each of those actual services. So you'll just want to make sure that you have the appropriate web browser. You can use it on a MacBook computer or a HP laptop or Windows. So it does work across software systems. You just have to make sure that you have the most up-to-date web browser in order to be able to utilize that.
Great. Ark?
Okay, this is Liz. Once again, you would have to have a web browser. Any type of email you could use with this, and you could use an Android, an iPhone. It doesn't matter what type of phone, as long as they establish an internet connection, that is fine. They just have to be able to download the app to whatever device they're using, and they can use an iPad or their phone or a laptop or a regular standard desktop. We do need to make sure that the employees and the participants have separate email addresses. That is one system requirement. Each individual using the system must have a different email address. Thank you.
Great. And GT, anything else to add?
Thank you for the question. You can use any computer or software system, so it doesn't matter if it's a Windows or Apple system in terms of our GT portal. Our caregiver app will actually run on older systems as well as newer systems, as well as our portal. We try and keep it where it'll stratify not only the newest systems, but also some of the older models, because we know not everybody updates their phone or computer all the time. So we want to make sure it's flexible in that way. And any email type works fine as well, to answer that part of your question. Thank you.
Right. We have a handful of questions that I will take time to answer. I'm going to ask it, and then we'll go into a poll, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So there's a question asking for the physical location of each FMCS office, and I know that might take a second for our presenters here to get that detailed information. So I'm going to ask it now. We'll have you answer it in a second, and I'll ask Donna to come back and do a couple polls for us really quickly. Additionally, during that time, please add any other questions. We're happy to continue answering up until 7 o'clock.
Okay, we ready for the first one? Okay, why did you come to the FMCS information fair? So you're going to see 4 responses. Pick the best one. Okay, looks like people are responding. That's good. We're going to leave it open maybe 15 more seconds. Okay. And we're going to close it. So 40% said to learn about each FMCS so that I can make a decision. 50% said to learn about each FMCS to help others make the decision. And then 10% said they were interested in the new FMCS agencies. So let's go to the next one. Let us know what you think about today's informational fair. There's 4 responses. Give you about 40 seconds. Okay, it looks like almost everyone voted. I'm going to close the poll. Okay, 50% said it was clear and informative, 50% said it was good, I learned a few things. Nobody was neutral, and nobody didn't think it was, nobody responded it was not helpful.
Good news.
And now we're going to do, for family members and participants only, do you need more information in order to make a choice of an FMCS agency? About a third has voted. I'll leave it open 15 more seconds. Okay, I'm going to close the poll and share. So 13% said, yes, I need much more information. 38% said, yes, I have a few questions to ask each FMCS. 38% said, no, I will think about what I learned and make a decision. And no, 13% said, no, I'm going to make a choice now. All right, final poll. Would you attend FMCS related webinars if offered on a regular basis? Okay, almost everybody has voted. That's great. I'm going to give it 8 more seconds. Okay, we're going to close the poll. And it looks like 70% said yes, 20% said no, and 10% said they weren't sure. So we're going to...
Great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. I have a couple more questions that we'll get through really quickly. First, I'll have each FMCS read out exactly where their office is located. PPL?
Sure, we did drop it in the chat, but it is 145 West Austin Street, Suite 600, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230 is the zip code.
Great. ARC?
Our headquarters is located at 1332 Donald Avenue in Severn, Maryland, 21144. It's a big gray building. You cannot miss it.
And GT?
Thank you. We're at 8 Marketplace in Baltimore, Maryland, and it's Suite 401.
What's that zip code?
Geez, I'll have to look up the zip code. I just saw it.
It's okay. I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, I'll get 2 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's make sure if you have any final questions, please put them in the question box. I have a handful still right here, so I'll read them. From start to finish, what is the standard timeline to clear employees to work? From start to finish, what is the standard timeline to clear employees to work? PPL?
All right, so it does depend on the background check, but we can get an employee's packet and everything completed within 1 business day, and typically the background check will come back within 2 to 5 business days. It depends on where they've lived nationwide, but we use Hire Right as our background check organization, and they're usually able to get things back pretty swiftly. Just depends on how many states somebody's lived in. So if they've lived in a lot of states, it's going to take a bit longer.
Great. ARC?
Our process is much the same. It is going to depend on the turnaround time for the background. We use Paycom currently for the background process. And secondary to that, it's going to depend upon the thoroughness and completeness of the new hire packet. If it's missing forms, things are unsigned, tax information is not filled in, we reach out to people and we walk them through the new hire paperwork. We are encouraging people to utilize the self-service portal when that becomes active in December, because the employee will essentially fill out all of the new hire paperwork themselves, and they will not be permitted to move forward until it is completely finished. So they'll know. Thank you.
Great. And GT.
Thanks for the question. In terms of turnaround time for paperwork, we really take a little different approach than what has traditionally been done in Maryland, where we do the employer and employee meetings together for the initial enrollment. All of that paperwork tends to be about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes total. We use our GT Enroll system that we built ourselves, which allows us to ensure everything's completed right the first time. We actually sit there with you while you do it. We provide the technology to run it. So that way, if you have any questions, we can answer them along the way, so you're not getting stuck on anything, but it also makes sure it's complete as well. To add a new staff after the fact, it takes less than an hour to be able to complete that paperwork and do the required Maryland trainings. In terms of the background check, our background checks typically are coming back in less than an hour, and that's pretty standard. Every once in a while, you may have somebody that's moved around quite a bit that it takes a little bit longer, but for the most part, we'll start running the background check as the meeting begins, and before the meeting ends, we already have the results.
All right, final question, unless I see another one come in right at the last minute. So we had several people choose to switch to their FMCS in October 1st, 2022. They just recently did it. And so these FMCSs have been onboarding people familiar with self-direction already. They did it in this quarter. So the question is, what are helpful tips for teams and people who might be transitioning on January 1st for a smooth transition? So we'll start with PPL.
Sorry, it takes a minute for my camera to load. But I would say having all contact information, that is for your entire team. So for your support broker, for your CCS, that's really important information to have. And when you are ready to do the onboarding process, complete documentation, just having the different things you might need, like an email, of course, setting that up. But those are things we can work on with you to make sure that you're adequately prepared. And we will work with everyone on a one-on-one basis to ensure everything goes smooth and really problem solve one-on-one. So if there is a concern that you have getting started, like, hey, I don't know how to set up an email address, or transportation's really an issue for me, or I don't know where to find the number on my license, or something like that we can absolutely go over those things with you, just to make sure you're adequately prepared and everything goes smooth.
Great. ARC, tips and tricks for transitioning 1-1.
Yes, I would say any folks coming our way for 1-1 or have selected us as the official FMCS provider effective January 1st, ensuring that we have the proper email addresses to get everyone uploaded in FMS Engine is going to be crucial, because we need a separate participant email address so that way they can access their participant dashboard and not be interfering with an employee's email address. We would also encourage anybody coming over that's onboarding new staff to ensure that their new hire packets are as complete as possible before they're submitted. That way we can expedite the process. And yeah, I would say just making sure that you guys are connecting our way and making sure that you're reaching out, and we'll get the whole team set up and get those enrollments scheduled. Thanks.
Great. And GT?
So we actually call and walk you through the whole process ahead of time. So we always do a welcome call when we receive a referral, let everybody know that we received the referral. We also prep you for what to bring to the appointment. So for instance, the I-9 IDs, like driver's license, social security number, or birth certificate, or card, or birth certificate. So everything's right then and there and ready to go. So those are always helpful regardless of the enrollment, but we really do quite a bit of both verbal over the phone as well as follow up with an email, so you have a list and you know how to navigate that smoothly. The other thing that we found when we were doing the October enrollments is that people were used to a very long process for enrolling. So they were getting antsy, you know, and thinking like, oh gosh, you haven't called yet and done the enrollment. But our enrollments are usually done in, like I said, an hour, hour and a half. And so we're not necessarily doing the enrollments weeks and weeks ahead of time. We're really waiting until it gets closer, so the training's fresh and the signatures are within the right time frames for dates. So we're planning all of our enrollments during the month of December, and we're calling people in November to set up those appointment times for the time of their preference. And Christy, the zip code is 21202.
Oh, right by my house. Yep, so thank you so much for coming. I hope that this information was interesting, and I hope it helps you make an informed decision. I think keep in mind that you do have until November 15th to make a decision for your FMCS agency. We do want to make sure that you make that informed choice, because we do not want to make it for you. We want it to be a choice that you make that you're excited about. So if you have any questions regarding the process of making a choice, you can reach out to me directly, or you can reach out to Monica. She's also available for support in that way. And if you have questions regarding your person-centered plan or the process after you choose an FMCS, please reach out to your regional office. They are ready and willing to support you through this. You can also include me on any emails or correspondence that you have. If there are no more questions, thank you so much. I think I speak for Monica as well. We have been just so privileged to be able to spend time with you over the last 3 months talking about FMCS agencies, and we're really looking forward to where the rubber meets the road when these services really start happening for people. Monica, did you want to share anything? It's our last one, so I feel like you should say something.
I just want to say thank you to everyone. I really, really appreciate you all showing up and asking your questions and being available. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We're done. I think make that choice. Please let us know if you have questions.